Men want and need to believe in the age-old myth that prostitution is the world's oldest profession. Yet the absolute truth is prostitution is not the world's oldest profession. It never has been. All it has ever been, all it will ever be, is the oldest oppression of women. Now, throughout the centuries, marauding armies of men have raided and pillaged and plundered and captured women to be their sex slaves. And these women were labeled prostitutes and harlots, rather than the victims of unimaginable oppression. And the sex trade today, like that of bygone centuries and decades, is still largely made up of slaves. And Johns don't want to hear this. Today, men who step out into the night seeking purchase sex defiantly cling to the myth that all prostituted women they rent, use, and abuse are in the sex trade by choice, that they are making money the easy way on their backs. Johns, again, need to believe this. What they don't want to hear, what they refuse to hear, are the tragic stories of how the vast, vast majority of women and children are gang-pressed into this pathetic existence of prostitution. They don't want to hear about the 5- and 6-year-old girls and boys being sold by their desperately poor parents to brothel owners in Cambodia and Vietnam and Thailand to be used and abused by men on international sex tours. Johns don't want to hear that most prostituted women are recruited into the flesh trade throughout the Western world, in Canada, the United States, the European Union, at ages as young as 12, 13, and 14. And that they have been made vulnerable by the violence of their surroundings. That most of these girls come from shattered and abusive families where they have been sexually abused and raped by their fathers and grandfathers and uncles and trusted family members. That their innocence and their self-esteem has all but been destroyed. That most suffer from mental health issues. That huge numbers of prostituted women are addicted to drugs, oftentimes forcibly addicted by and controlled by their drug-dealing pimps. And that most time, these women take those drugs to dull the senses so that they can get through the night and do what they have to do. Women are the ones who are stigmatized, labeled as prostitutes and whores, harlots, skanks, and sluts, while the men are benignly tagged as Johns, clients, and customers. Yet it's these very clients, the Johns, who are their oppressors. It is this staggering demand by men that is creating huge profits in the billions and billions of dollars for crime networks worldwide, and incentives for traffickers, pimps, and brothel owners to hunt down and ensnare more and more victims. It is demand that is fueling the explosion in the trafficking of women and girls worldwide. In economic parlance, women are the commodity, the supply side of the coin. And embedded in the supply side are the push factors: extreme poverty, lack of education, and the eternal yearning of desperate human beings to improve their lot in life. You flip that coin and you get the demand side. And there are 3 key letters in demand: M-A-N. Leaders worldwide really believe that every year hundreds of thousands of young women from countries like Brazil, Thailand, the Philippines, and Russia are lining up to be prostitutes in their homelands or in foreign lands. Does anyone really believe that these young women want to have their bodies invaded by 10 or 15 strange men every night, only to turn over most, if not all, their money to some despicable pimp? Because that's the reality out there. Pimps control them. Who would want to do this if they had a choice? What the legalization advocates don't tell the politicians and the journalists who unquestioningly report their position is this one extremely important fact. Study after study on prostitution worldwide has found that the vast majority of women caught up in the sex trade maze, upwards of 96%, desperately want out.